Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for SSSS Gridman, episode 11. This is the penultimate episode.
And
yeah.
So
Yuta's been stabbed.
Yeah.
He's been box cuttered.
Yes. The path of this story walks along a razor's edge right now.
Yep.
And
all that edge.
And who knows how this is gonna go. But Akane has certainly seemed to reach her lowest point.
Hey, that's a good thing, because in some ways then she might be open to the greatest change with all these other people who might not even be real. Especially if she's willing to kill the one that we most thought was real other than her.
Right, and we still don't know what that marble is.
Okay, the marble is its own thing, obviously, but, like, the big thing here is, like, wait, hold on. She killed him. Like, killed him, even though Yuta has died, so to speak, at one point before.
And we haven't seen him actually die. We just saw him fall over, so he could be okay.
Yes, but she's not stabbing him just to give him a little tickle.
No. Yeah. I'm sure samurai caliber could handle her in a fight.
And I'm sure she's not also stabbing him just to inflict pain.
No. She is definitely
She's trying to kill him, yeah.
Yeah, no, but they could just, throw him in the hospital and chalk it all up to falling down the stairs or something.
I mean, she's flexing her god powers, Jacob.
Well, yes, this is true.
As far as we're concerned now, we need to peel back the curtain and see where the Wizard of Oz lies.
Now.
Yeah. Like, this is...
And
this is at that point in the story.
And what's crazy is that Chief Overjustice Lagann still hasn't made his move. Like, not really.
Again, he might be more or less kind of a partner, not a manipulator. We'll have to see. Like, there's a lot of mystery here. So, yeah, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. Yeah. Oh yeah, Stabbo. She's got her glasses on too. Oh my god. Whoa.
しちゃった。ごめん、本当私ずるいよね。でもこうするしかないじゃん。
The dream is collapsing.
ねえ、大丈夫だよな。ねえ、ユータ。
Wow. Oh, okay. That's good.
That is a great way to transition into the OP.
Oh, is that simple? Wow. So then why stab him at all if she wasn't even trying to kill him?
Well, I think it's the thing of she was trying to kill him, but it's the thing of since there's conflict within her, you know?
Yeah.
私学校行ってくる。
こ
んな状況でも学生は学校に行くもんなんだな。ちょっと様子見てくるだけです。
Trying to evacuate makes things interesting if there is nothing beyond this city.
こんなことは許されないから。よかった。もう会えないのかと思った。勝手に殺すな。
Ha! Don't go killing me off now. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
今までもいっぱい人が死んだり。
当たり前じゃん。いやでもまさか怪獣が出てくるなんて考えられんわ。
昨日あの大きい人たちが協力して怪獣やっつけてくれたじゃん。
なあ。
ていうかさ、なんで昨日怪獣出てくるって分かったの？
確かに。
Indeed.
Yes, that.
Okay. These two.
次の怪獣の相談なんだが。
次なんてないよ。だって響くんは。グリッドマンはもう私が倒しちゃったから。
アンチ君が次のグリッドマンになってしまったようでね。やはりまた怪獣が必要なんだ。ありもので済ませるか。
Okay.
Okay. Oh, just all the previous kaiju?
Yeah.
ごめん、ちょっと行ってくる。
なんでも悪 悪い方に捉えるなよ。
Hey,
言えないって
nice.
ことは言わないってことを立夏なりに考えたんだよ。
よくそんな風に考えられるね。
Yeah.
Such understanding side
Right.
character students.
この人たちだけじゃ戦えないんだって。
Ah.
我々の力はグリッドマンあってのものだ。
So I guess Auntie doesn't
何
count
もできないか
completely.
ら何もしないつもりか。
アンチ君
Of course, here comes Auntie.
知り合い誰なんすか？
Has he never seen
こいつは
Auntie
人間のふ
before?
りをした怪獣だよ。いつも絡んでくるあいつだよ。
お前があのパクリ怪獣なのか？
誰だお前は。足元を気にしていたら戦えない。
まさか謝罪しに来たわけじゃないよな。
Nope.
謝罪とは何だ？
Yeah, he doesn't even know what that is.
怪獣とグリッドマンの戦いを楽しんでいたのかもしれない。俺だって最低だ。お前のせいで何人も人が死んだんだ。
Reality is reality, yeah. Yeah.
お前しかこの事態に対処できない。
それが礼儀と教わった。
Hey. Nice, nice.
びっくりした。
Ah!
かわいいじゃない。
Wow, alright.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be so badass. What?
Destructo Disc.
Yep. Yep.
あいつ美味しいな。
しかし、なぜユータは目覚めないのか。
現にユータは
No way.
What?
No
そう
way.
いうことか。
Wait.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, they gotta go back to the computer. We have to go back, Kate! We have to go back! Oh, yeah, with them and the shot and everything, and the city on top,
Yeah.
framing it all there. Oh!
つながってるとしたら、
ジャンクがグリッドマンとつながっ
Oh,
ているなら
that's awesome.
おそらく
What the heck? He's gonna chuck it into the other one, yeah! Two for one, alright.
Okay.
あったあった。
Alright, we got ourselves a graphics card, yep.
夢でもいいじゃん。一緒に行こうよ。このまま。
Yeah, the bus where they would meet and
Hibiki,
spend
onegai.
time together. She's realizing that wherever Akane is, she's alone, and that's the point, that she
Right.
shouldn't be alone. Oh. Wait. This is back when he lost his memory, when he reset.
Wait a second.
Whoa. Is this like a video game respawn thing where...
Is this gonna be one of those like infinite inside of inside of inside kind of deals?
なぜ
Maybe.
私の中にユータがいる。
Whoa.
君が私だから。
グリッドマンが俺。でもどうしてユータに宿ったんだ？
They're inserting memory.
Yeah, yeah.
They're inserting
Yeah,
RAM.
I know.
They're inserting memory.
SSSS.
Memory cards. Wow.
But they cut away. What?
Yeah, yeah. What
Like,
was the...
What did Gridman say?
Oh, this one, yeah. Oh,
That's cool.
that's awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, crap. You know what I just realized?
What?
There's the big one still. Remember? The really, really big one?
Oh yeah. Well, and also,
That one
what's
hasn't come
Overjustice
back.
Lagann gonna be doing?
Oh.
つみごめん。俺記憶喪失じゃなかったんだ。もともと俺に記憶なんてなかったんだと思う。どういうこと？
What?
自分がユータだと思っているグリッドマンとずっと一緒にいたのか。うん。だから本来のユータは今もまだ眠ったままだ。新庄茜に刺されたんだぞ。
Okay, okay. Help him out.
新庄さんは俺を刺すしかなかった。ユータを殺す気かよ。お前なんかキャラ違うぞ。そうかも
That's
しれ
because
ない。
I'm not myself.
私はハイパーエージェント。
Okay.
グリッドマンなのだから。
Wow.
All right, you got the eye color changed, so you know it's legit.
Yep.
よく頑張ったよ、アンチ君。でも、 そろそろ終わりにしよう。
Oh, my turn. Oh.
Oh boy.
Yep, here's the big one. Yes.
That shot looks familiar.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
我々も行くぞ。
あ
今の全部見てた感じっすか。
あ、気にしないで続けて続けて。いってらっしゃい。
Nice, nice.
なんか飛んでる。
Whoa. Nice.
待たせてしまっ
The
た。
full combined Gridman.
Okay.
遅かったな、グリッドマン。
Oh my god, of course.
All right, let's go.
俺を使え。
Nice.
Oh,
Oh, and it's red. Of
yeah,
course
yeah.
it's red.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And it just looks too cool.
This is really cool.
All right.
But this is what's really important right here.
早く私を殺さないからこんなことになるんだよ。
茜はそんなことばっか。
響くん生きてたんだ。私ちゃんと刺したのにつ
Now
い
does she
て
have
こない
something
で
she
よ。
has to do?
私のことバカな神様だと思ってるんでしょ。
リンカには関係ないじゃん。関係なくないよ。なんだよその言い方。私は茜を友達だと思ってる。友達だって思い込んでるだけなんだよ。茜は私のことどう思ってるの？
私は
どうでもいい話の最中に
Oh
Wow.
私はもう怪獣扱い。
君自身が怪獣になればいいんだよ。インスタンスオブリアクション。
Oh crap. Oh crap.
Whale.
Well, I guess you're right. There's his move.
Yep.
Wow.
So, in a sense, he's doing the same thing that Gridman did,
uh-huh.
inhabiting. Gridman inhabited Yuta.
Right,
Now
right.
he's going to inhabit Akane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Instant
Yuta's not dead.
reaction.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, Yuta has been Gridman all
Mhm.
along,
Yep.
and in some ways that makes sense, because if he's the only real person here, in some ways, if we look at this as some kind of a meta, it's Akane's isekai basically that she kind of made for whatever her reasons are.
Mhm.
Be it something where it was subconscious, it's some part of her inner psyche being played out in the form of her favorite, show slash, kind of fantasies with regards to kaiju and, Gridman fighting each other, or it's an actual like video game of something where she's just playing it, basically, hacking it or whatever to escape from reality.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that there is something else in here that is somewhat real or is the only thing that can really save Akane
Mm-hmm.
feels just very like apropos and symbolic. So I still don't know whether or not Yuta is real,
Well,
but
yeah, I
almost love it.
I almost wonder if it doesn't matter because
Yeah,
given that there's
probably.
only one episode left
Mhm.
and they haven't really explored the idea of why Akane's god or the world outside really,
Mhm.
I wonder if they're just not going to go into that and the whole thing of
but-
her being god is just something. It's just that's part of the premise that was just introduced as a it was confirmed way later in the story.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be a missed opportunity for them to not give us something. They don't have
Yeah.
to go into full detail,
Uh-huh.
but just to give us something.
Especially
Because then it'll generate more discussion. And Trigger
Yeah.
is the kind of show where they hold some cards in their back pocket until the last possible second.
Mhm.
And given that this is an original,
Yeah.
this is an original anime,
Mhm.
there's no rules with regards to how they, end this. They're not adapting
Yes.
some material or what have you.
Yeah, that is a great point.
So I just expect there to be still more that we have yet to know about. Not really the world, because the world in of itself is basically just a representation of aspects of Akane,
Right.
with some literal stuff that we can take in there, because on some level, Yuta, Rika, even Utsumi and the Neon Genesis Junior High students, they all seem to have personalities and, you know, unique
Right.
aspects to them that are just independent of Akane. But who knows? We'll have to let's see about that.
And also for Alexis Carib, because there is very clearly some history with Gridman, but we don't exactly know what it is, and we don't know where they came from really, or what they are.
Right.
And I guess they could keep that a mystery, but at least for these two as individuals, even if they don't go into the whole nature of Gridman and, you know, and whatever Alexis Carib is.
Right.
And they've called him an alien, but I think that's more of just the people that don't know what he is, you know, calling him an alien. Because what else would they call him?
Yeah. The main thing is Akane has no shock or what have you with regards to this whole thing of Alexis Carib and Gridman's existence in general. But this was the first time, though, that she was not happy. She looked afraid of what Alexis Carib was doing here.
Right.
And that was his abreaction of sorts into her.
And what I could see this being is that basically, if you think about it, if you think about the nature that Akane is the god of this world, then how could Alexis Carib basically go around her? The way I could see him potentially doing that is if he brought her low enough to the point where she didn't care about anything, and then he could assert his will, and she wouldn't have the will to stop him because she doesn't care, right?
Right.
And then
that
maybe
might be what's going on.
And that might be what's going on here, and then maybe he could get into a situation where he has some sort of power over her through the possession or whatever, basically doing the same thing that Gridman did with Yuta.
Yeah.
But you know, then it'll probably get resolved by some awesome power of friendship talks and Akane, you know, pushing him out or something along those lines.
Right. There is a clear separation, though, that I think is interesting to bring up. The idea that when we reveal that Yuta is Gridman and Gridman is Yuta, that they're one and the same in that respect. Yuta has a body, and the way they talked about it, Gridman talked about it through Yuta, or just Gridman was talking about it, was that Yuta is still asleep.
Right.
The idea that there's a possibility that this isn't necessarily like a dream, but it's some kind of thing where Yuta's plugged into the Matrix in some way, and this is something like that where, and yes, Yuta could be in slight danger here, but this is what Yuta would want to do just as much as it is what Gridman's purpose is to do.
Well, and to confirm, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but what they're saying is that the entire Yuta that we know, has been Gridman all along, and that's why Yuta had the memory loss. Right. Yeah.
Which was not essentially memory loss.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And then maybe we just need to know what exactly it was that caused Yuta to fall asleep in the first place and caused Gridman to need to occupy Yuta. And it's probably going to be because of something that happened with Alexis Carib. And I mean, Trigger can do a lot with one episode, so I have no doubt that they won't really have any trouble there. But yeah.
So if we end up getting basically a final showdown, classic, giant robots versus giant robots in this just tokusatsu, just glorious 3D, just
it's gonna be great.
That's gonna be awesome, and that's been like foreshadowed to the OP since the beginning. So we've been waiting for this. It's gonna happen. Does Akane basically wake up to Gridman's basically efforts and then basically enact her will upon the world and thus basically save herself? Or does this end up being a thing where Yuta basically kind of breaks through to tomorrow, shatters the glass ceiling, so to speak, and tears reality asunder and, charges forward into tomorrow with a, Yeah, something like that.
What,
or is this going to be a thing where Yuta just sacrifices himself as a thing of like, you know,
right.
It's a more of a darker, sadder ending.
What I get the feeling it's going to be like a mixture of the first two.
Okay.
In that basically they're going to do the whole fight and they're going to have to wake Akane up because she's the one that's going to end up fixing this, right?
Right.
But the way that they could end up waking her up and the way that they could do the reality shattering, all that stuff, is that Gridman basically says, okay, I've occupied Yuta.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I could do. But that's enough. Like I can't go farther with this.
Right.
So then
right.
Gridman goes to occupy Akane as well. And then you have and then you could basically have Akane inside Akane, and then you have this battle between Alexis Carib and Gridman at the same time, and all of this, you know, with Akane witnessing it and all that stuff, and basically assuming that this is, you know, going to be a possession type thing or whatever.
Well, wouldn't it already be symbolically that by having Gridman fighting, you know, Alexis Carib, who's possessing her, so it's basically tearing her away from the possessed force. It's already kind of inside Akane in that way, because this whole world is kind of another way of saying it's Akane. Like she is Zawara.
Right. I guess it's just how do they want to handle the visual metaphors or representation of what is actually going on? Because since the battle is for Akane as a person, right?
Right.
You know, the physical battle that happens in a lot of ways won't really matter. I feel like it will matter.
Well, it symbolically matters, yeah.
Right. It symbolically matters,
yeah.
but I don't think they're going to have Gridman have a chance of beating Akane Carib.
Right, that's why
they are.
That's why my third ending is basically the Yuta sacrifices himself, Gridman sacrifices himself, because that's what is the duty of the hero protagonist kind of thing, is to do what they can to save, you know, those that they must, you know, no matter what it takes. And the whole thing of Akane being the actual main character, I feel like is kind of the twist that it has to be, is that the show is called SSSS Gridman, and I don't know if that's basically just kind of the thing of like, well, that tells you what kind of show it is, basically, or if it's saying, no, Gridman is the main character. But I feel like because this is Akane's world, we're already in Akane, we're already in the metaphysical space, essentially, for having some kind of non-physical combat, if that makes sense. Like the whole thing of them taking the memory and the RAM and putting it in, and then that interacts with that whole thing there. I think what that might be saying here is that the closest thing we could get to some kind of representation of reality here is that we have the motherboard up in the sky, basically, and then we have a junk computer inside here, which just an idea that maybe that's some part of Akane already that's fighting back, and this is just the representation of it as her thing because she likes kaiju and she likes this whole tokusatsu medium, essentially, is that's her heart, if you will. Like the junk computer that all her friends are trying to desperately
that thing that she threw away a long time ago and forgot about.
Yeah, exactly. And she basically came inside to that area with Gridman and the computer, tried to basically kill it and be like, I'm done with that. That's painful, all that. Right. But somehow, by the help of her friends, by the help of this world she's created, it revives back to life again. It says like, no, we will fight for you. We will fight for you.
Right. And then it's just how literal do they want to take all this stuff that's happening? Because since she's God, they can take as little or as much of it as actually being that as they want.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I really hope that it's something though where at the very least Rika is involved, because I love what they've been doing with having Rika, you know, the whole thing of is Rika actually friends with Akane, you know, and Akane doubting that, and Rika doubting that too, and you know, and wanting to really get at the heart of the matter. So amidst the fighting and all that stuff that is no doubt going to happen next episode, I hope they have kind of like a, you know, all the good guys basically shouting their own little bit to basically reach the heart of Akane, so that then she can, you know,
it's a let our powers combine. Everyone forms into a tiny little upgrade that attaches to Gridman or something like that, and it makes the most immense drill possible, and all that good stuff. Yeah, I think that's going to happen here. I want to put out the idea of my third theory, is the idea that there's a dark Yuta, Rika, everyone basically sacrificed on the basically in the act of trying to save her, and it's basically this thing of where her loss of all of them, she realizes that even though they might not be quote unquote real, they mean something to her. So she basically realizes that it's okay to dream. Like, it's okay to, like she was saying earlier, it's okay to have something that's not real, but it's the emotion, the value it has to you becomes and kind of makes it real. And that's how maybe they can transcend the whole breaking reality thing, is that
this has all been a dream and she wakes up.
Well, no. It's that it's all something that's not real, in that maybe, the dream thing, but that by her imagination, by her creativity, her whole making the kaiju thing, that's the theme, is that she takes the thing that is the quirky, fun hobby idea and brings it into reality. So she takes all of these experiences, all of these people that she maybe made up in her head, and brings them into reality, and that's the pushing.
Sure.
And however that's interpreted in the visual presentation, you have something like that. But it takes her losing them all in order to realize how important they are. And maybe it's something where it doesn't end the fight for her heart, for her soul, if you will, because in some ways, like, she still has to save herself, you know. She still has to do some part of it herself, and that might be the dark side of it. But I don't know. Trigger has a thing for really over the top happy endings. So
it's like, if they they can, because
they can be bittersweet, but
they have Akane be the god of this world, right? They can do whatever they want. Like, they could kill everyone off and then bring everyone back, whether it's through Akane just resetting the world or something, or through just, you know, it is all a dream and she wakes up and suddenly she's like, okay, I'm actually going to go talk to these people now, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see how they do it, because they do only have the one episode left. Like, like, how much fighting can they actually fit in there alongside, like, you know, all the other stuff? Like, I mean, I'm sure they can do
I think it's going to be like 7 to 10 minutes of just non-stop, ridiculous escalating action. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so good. Like the looks that they had just from having all the other kaiju fighting Grid Knight, you know.
That was absolutely awesome.
Oh, so good.
I gotta say, I think my favorite part from this entire episode is the part where Akane's mom, or Rika's mom, sees him, and she's just like, just zero into the computer, and it's just and they just look at her, they're like, we're gonna go, okay,
and then she's like, come right back. You know?
Like, that was just like, I feel like with Gridman as a show, Trigger goes for a lot less of like the bombastic comedy and more of like the like the awkward pauses,
the awkward cough in the background kind of comedy,
right? Where it's like, and I love that. Like that scene was just perfect. Like sometimes I feel like I'm kind of missing the comedy when it does that, you know, in this show. That was not one of them. That was not one of them. Oh man, that was great. All
right. We have I would say everyone going through their own crisis of basically like, who am I? What's my purpose here? Except for Auntie. And I felt like that was one of the...
Right, because he already had that.
Well, yes, but he basically went through that whole journey up until basically like 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
And now that he's kind of leading this whole thing, I thought that it was the perfect coming full circle for him to, basically like reignite them and deciding what they want, what they needed to do.
Right. And he did it in his own style that didn't involve like giving some passionate speech to them that would get them all riled up. Right. It was just like he said where he was at, and then he went to go fight, pretty much.
But I wanna poke at the meta thing of this here. Let's take Auntie and extrapolate something out here.
Okay.
He's a kaiju, right? Which means that
he was made by Akane.
Made him. Now, why did she make him? To destroy Gridman. What is Gridman? Do we really know at this point?
Potentially a manifestation of one side of Akane's personality.
Yeah, potentially something that is a part of Akane. Because the way that they've set this up, this feels way more metaphysical now that we're near the end than it did like 6 episodes ago, even though they were bringing up the idea really early that this world is not necessarily real. It's something that Akane has created for whatever means. But I find it interesting that one of the oldest characters, whose whole thing was to destroy Gridman, then basically evolves past that. Then after that's been done, Akane then goes to do it herself. Basically Auntie won't do it.
Oh, yeah.
Then
so
I have to do it. But when she finally does it, she has this, like, I don't know what I'm doing kind of look.
Sure.
It's the thing of that the act itself, like seemed to violate something internally in her.
Yeah, you could say that the reason that Auntie's whole journey potentially is another manifestation of one aspect of Akane, because she's the god of this world. She made Auntie and all of that stuff, and so she made all of them. So the idea that if he's struggling with it, then that means she was probably struggling with it, and every time that she threw food in his face and things like that was a manifestation of her own self-hatred over the fact that she couldn't bring herself to do the thing that she wanted to do, but she still wanted to do it.
Or it's even more subtle than that, where it's that, but it's also that she doesn't want to do the thing that she programmed Auntie to do.
Right.
So every time she sees Auntie, it's like, ugh, I made you. Like,
right, you're the manifestation
so spiteful
of my own.
She's looking at herself.
all the ugly things that I don't like about me.
Yeah, and it's just staring at her in the face. So she's so hateful towards Auntie. But now we see Auntie growing, moving beyond that, going past that, while Akane is deconstructing, is destabilizing.
Sure.
Or maybe unraveling is more accurate. So is that a thing of where there will be another maybe combining thing that you were thinking of? In some ways she'll accept Auntie back.
I mean, it depends on how literal they take all of this, right? Because so far, whenever they do the whole thing of her being God and stuff like that, she doesn't seem to do anything other than making kaiju, really, or presenting Alexis Carib with the potential to make kaiju, like designs for them, really. But if they go into, yes, this is all everything here is just aspects of herself, because if she makes it, then that came from her somehow, right? They've brought that up several times with the kaiju. Then absolutely.
Ooh, to add to that, the idea of even making kaiju is not an original creative notion. She's probably inspired in her mind to make kaiju that look certain ways because of her fascination with kaiju-based stories and stuff like that. So in some ways, it's a regurgitation of something that she has inside. So a way of looking at it that way is that all the creations in here are maybe more projections than creations, because there's something that had to come from inside. Right. Yeah. And that's what I guess creating something by its own nature has to be, right? And you have to have it in here before it comes out here.
Right. And if they wanted to do the thing of having this all be a dream and Akane, like actually a dream and Akane wakes up, that could be how they do it. Is that, of course, she resolves things in terms of kaiju, because that's maybe the thing that caused her to not be able to fit in at school, and you know she's really insecure about that and all that stuff. So when she has this dream, or maybe she's actually in a coma or something like that, or whatever, right? Then she resolves things using kaiju as the tools, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's some really exciting things in here that I think are just left vague enough to where we can kind of discuss things like this. And that's, I would say, slightly a positive and a negative for the show just being a short show to where we only have so much that we can actually get into this kind of thing.
Right, because I would definitely love for it to, like, the dream thing, I think that could be awesome to take to, like, and actually actualize it and make it real, but the amount of, like, I don't know if they're actually going to do that.
Yeah,
right?
like regarding how much time they have left, regarding, I would say, how much it can actually muddle the ending of a story,
right?
If you make things too vague and too much, where
because then you'd have to like if you did do
too much retroactive context applied,
right? And if you did that, then in order to make it be a really satisfying conclusion, the thing is that all these characters and all the growth that they've had, that would be all stuff that was happening inside Akane's head, which makes it great for Akane, but for the other characters, then you'd have to figure out how Akane will interact with those characters. And while we have seen instances that probably were real events that happened with Akane in the story, and maybe that's where some of the regrets come from, right?
Sure.
We would have to see what these characters are actually like in reality.
Right. And I think that's where I would say a lot of the exciting and or risky things about this type of story ending could be. I think what would be best is to have some element of breaking through reality and reaching Akane's heart, so to speak, but have it be something where you hold both realities in tandem.
Okay.
Both of them matter because they're both probably connected directly to Akane.
Well,
and having the actions and the consequences and the effects in this one, at the very least, matter and transcend into the next one.
Well, anything that you have that's inside Akane's head, then it's very easy for that to matter, because then it's all stuff that's happened for Akane, right? Any outcome is a conclusion that Akane is coming to herself, right? Which in a battle for her heart, that is very important. In the outside world, well, then that's the outside world, and then that directly ties to Akane and affects her and things like that, because if that is how they end up taking it, then we want to see her not only have the internal change and growth and decision making and conclusions and all that stuff, but we want to see her also be able to utilize those in the real world and hope that goes well for her, because if she's in this situation, then we can probably assume that it didn't go well in the past. And not necessarily because of the other people, maybe because of her, right? But
we theorized early on that this place is her escape. It's somewhere that she's going to have an easier experience with her environment, because the environment is controlled more or less by her. At the very least, there's adjustments made that are very active,
and
based on her will and desire.
Here's another way that you could think about it too. So this world exists, right? She's a fan of these shows,
right?
If she was the god of this world, where did those shows come from? Right?
Her memory.
Well, right, her memory. Something else outside, right?
Right.
Where these shows were created, and they were not a part of her. They were separate from her own creation.
Sure.
Right? So and then she ends up just absolutely, loving the stories and all that stuff, and then it becomes a big part of her world when she makes this world, which would make me think then that it's actually going to go out to the real world at some point, because or that the real world exists at the very least for Akane outside of this, because that's where those shows come from.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, y'all. It's a surprising thing for Trigger to kind of mind blow us so much, and yet I feel like it's pretty predictable in that respect. Like it's still pretty surprising in that we are here and that there's only one more episode left, and yet they've been building and building up to this idea of reality being shattered and so much potentially being out there. And there hasn't been any of that yet. So y'all, if you want to see that next episode's reaction discussion right now,
oh boy,
go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, where you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general. You can get involved in the community there and participate in events and games we've got going on there. You can also talk with Jacob about his book.
Yes. My sci-fi novel Battle Lines is still available for order on Amazon. The link's in the description below, so go check it out.
So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.